This right here is the OPPO Reno14, and I gotta say, I don't really know why more people aren't hyped about this thing. I mean, I've been using it for a few weeks now, and honestly, it's kind of blown me away, like way more than I thought it would. And here's the thing, it's not just a shiny new phone with specs on paper. All these little features they added, they actually work. Like, I've been using them every day without even thinking about it, and boom, suddenly I'm getting way more done without even trying as hard. It's pretty wild. Now, in case you're not familiar, the Reno series is OPPO's mid-range lineup, and as usual, you've got three versions to pick from. The Reno14 Pro 5G, that's the high-end one, the regular Reno14, which is the solid middle ground, and the Reno14 F, which is the more affordable option. The one that I've been using the most is the Reno14 Pro, just because I prefer the bigger displays. Oh, and real quick, yes, this video is sponsored by OPPO, but listen, that just means that they sent me these phones to talk about them, not to lie about them. I'll break down all the new features and let you know what I genuinely think along the way. And by the end, you'll have a pretty good idea of whether or not any of these phones are actually a good fit for you or not. So let's start it off with the things that I really enjoyed using the most. It's mainly within the software. All these phones come with ColorOS 15 out of the box, along with a few new extra features that are exclusive to these phones so far that I haven't seen on other phones as well. The first one is called AI Voice Scribe. Here's how it works. If I'm on a video or a voice call within a third-party app, doesn't matter if it's on Google Meet, Zoom, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, whatever, this new menu now pops up asking if I'd like to record the entire conversation. Or I can even summarize it with AI, or even just get live captions. And they all work like a charm. So now when I'm in a meeting or an important call or even just talking to a friend, I won't forget any specific key points about the conversation or any task that I need to do because AI Voice Scribe literally handles everything for me. It's like having a personal assistant. Plus, the secret weapon is that if anyone in the call speaks a different language,
Hola, ¿cómo te va?
you can still translate what they said with the live captions feature. It's pretty great.
Sí, si quieres vamos juntos.
And even with regular phone calls, OPPO also made it really easy to remember all those conversations. There's now this feature called AI Call Summary, which is basically the same idea. And there's also AI Call Translator, which lets you translate what the other person is saying in real time. Just a heads up though, the Reno14 F is really the only model that doesn't support AI Call Translator, but it still supports the summary part, so there you go. Another nifty tool that OPPO added to help you remember things much more easily is AI Mindspace. Picture it like a junk drawer, but actually way more organized. If you find an interesting article, for example, but have no time to read it, you can just swipe up with 3 fingers and it'll toss it up in the app just like that. It'll even analyze the content beforehand, and then inside the app, it'll give you a summary of what you saved. You can also do any photo that you like, or maybe even a conversation that you had with someone. Plus, the smartest part is that it even uses AI to detect stuff that you could add. For example, if it knows that you have a calendar event on your screen, it'll suggest that you save it for later. It's super handy. Just again though, the Reno14 F is the only model that doesn't support this. Translation also got way better on the Reno14 series. The Translate app now lets you use your camera to instantly translate things that are right before you. Stuff like menus, signs, documents, whatever. There's even this new bilingual conversation mode that really just splits your screen so that 2 people speaking different languages can talk face to face without missing a beat. It's a lifesaver when you're traveling. And if you're watching some foreign film or you're stuck in a foreign meeting where you just don't understand a thing, it even lets you have live captions, which is pretty clutch. The Reno14 series also has Google Gemini integrated with OPPO's own apps now. So if you ask Gemini to make a note, it can now be done inside OPPO's Notes app, instead of Google Keep. The same goes for setting alarms, calendar events, and all of that. If you're someone who actually prefers OPPO's native apps, this is excellent. Oh, and they finally added Circle to Search. Just long press the nav bar and draw a circle around anything on your screen to search it instantly. I love seeing more brands jump on that. And like other OPPO phones, you also get some of the same unique ColorOS goodies that we've all come to love. Things like O+ Connect, which makes sharing stuff across Androids, Windows, and even Apple devices super easy. Yeah, you heard that right. You can now send files to iPhones, iPads, and Macs. It even supports iOS's touch to share feature, so that way you can hold the phones together and the phones will connect automatically, And you can even share live photos too, which is pretty great. And the transfer speed is great too, it does it really fast. Now I gotta be real, no software is perfect, and ColorOS 15 does have a few quirks that I would like to see improved. The first one is that it's kind of frustrating that the widgets panel on the home screen still doesn't have a search bar, and none of the widgets are even grouped into submenus. So if you've got a bunch of third-party apps, scrolling through that whole list just to find one widget can be a bit of a hassle. I'm also not a fan of the pre-installed bloatware. Thankfully, OPPO does let you uninstall everything, so it's not really the end of the world, but still, it's kind of a rough first impression out of the box. And while we're on it, I really wish ColorOS supported lock screen widgets, something that you can already do on some other Android skins like One UI or Nothing OS. It's a small feature, but one that I'd love to see added in the future. That said, even with those minor annoyances, ColorOS 15 has just consistently given me a smooth, fast, and super intuitive experience. The animations feel polished, the features are genuinely useful, and overall, it's still one of my favorite Android skins to use. Now, when we step back and actually look at the outside of the phone, you'll probably agree that the design is also really nice. Just like last time, they included a color option that has a shifting effect on the back. So when you tilt the phone around, you get these crazy glare and light reflections. It's honestly really satisfying to look at. Last year's version had more of a butterfly wing vibe with soft shadows, but this year the reflections are way bolder, wider, and even more colorful. OPPO's calling the look Mermaid Core, and yeah, I can really see how they got that name. And get this, it's actually the first phone to use velvet glass, so that's pretty fancy. My only gripe, that little AI camera text printed near the lenses, it kind of feels unnecessary, but it's not a deal breaker. If you're not into flashy designs though, don't worry, they've got options. On the Pro model, you've got titanium gray, which is pretty minimalist, just a clean gray tone. Nothing wild, but it definitely gives off that more professional look. And just to clarify, don't let the titanium name fool you, it's still got the same aluminum frame as the base Reno14. Now, on the more affordable Reno14, they added this fun, luminous green version with a glowing effect around the camera. And for the entry-level Reno14 F, you've got a few fun colorways too. OPPO Blue, which gives you that mermaid vibe, but in blue instead of white. A glossy pink, and that same luminous green again. And if you're wondering how they feel in the hand, honestly, they're all pretty comfortable. The sides are flat, but with just enough curve on the edges to avoid that sharp feeling. The regular Reno14 has a 6.5-inch display, and because the screen is completely flat now, no more curved edges like last year, it's way easier to grip and use one-handed. Now, once you jump to the Reno14 Pro, it bumps up to a 6.8-inch display. That's definitely a huge plus if you're into big screens like me, but it does start to feel a little less one-handed friendly. Still, if you watch a lot of videos, it'll probably be worth to get the extra screen space. Now, durability wise, they didn't really skimp on that either. You have an aerospace aluminum frame, crazy water resistance ratings with IP66, IP68, and even IP69, which is pretty rare at this price. And they also have this all-round armor design with shock-absorbing cushioning inside. Now, that doesn't mean it's indestructible by any means, but it'll definitely survive your average drops and spills. Now let's talk cameras, because this is where the Reno14 lineup really surprised me. All three models come packed with a triple rear camera setup and that familiar hole punch selfie on the front. I'll put the exact specs on the screen here so that you can compare them side by side. Now, the Reno14 Pro is the absolute beast of the bunch. Get this, every single lens is 50 megapixels, even the selfie camera. So yeah, detail is not an issue here. You've got your standard 50 megapixel main shooter, plus a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 3.5x optical zoom, which is pretty great for a mid-range phone. The regular Reno14 is pretty close. It has the same triple lens layout, including the same telephoto, a rarity at its price, but the main sensor isn't quite as large as the Pros. And the ultra wide is bumped down to 8 megapixels. Then with the Reno14 F, you get a similar main and selfie camera to the base Reno14, but instead of a telephoto lens, OPPO swaps in a macro camera for those super close-up shots. It's not my favorite swap, but hey, it does lower the overall price on the phone. Now, in day-to-day shooting, I was actually really happy with how all three phones performed. In good lighting, they all shot super crisp photos with nice colors and solid dynamic range. Even in nighttime shots, I was surprised that they held onto a lot of detail and managed to capture that deep, true night sky look without turning it into a noisy mess. That said, the Reno14 Pro definitely pulls ahead in low light thanks to that bigger sensor. Still, none of these are what I'd call low light champs, but for mid-range devices, they do hold their own. And for video, I was honestly impressed too. You can now shoot in HDR at up to 4K resolution on all rear cameras, and the transitions between lenses while zooming are actually pretty smooth, a lot smoother than most other phones. The colors also stay punchy and consistent the whole way through too, which is nice. It gives off a much more premium vibe than I expected. Also, just like with the previous generation, the Reno14s are some of the very few mid-range phones that let you do underwater photography. Yeah, underwater. No extra waterproof case needed. You can just use the physical lock key to snap photos, which totally avoids the I can't tap the screen underwater struggle. And yep, it still works at 4K resolution. Super fun if you're near a pool or lake or just feel like getting creative. Now to make this even better, OPPO packed in a bunch of new AI-powered photography tools into their devices, some of which I haven't even seen elsewhere. The first one that really stood out to me is AI flash photography. In low-light scenes, instead of blasting everything with one harsh flash, it uses a pre-flash and then a stronger main flash to give your shots this more natural, three-dimensional look. I won't say it does wonders, but I do think it does work well in party settings. The live photos got a huge upgrade too, with OPPO now calling it AI Live Photo 2.0. It now uses this dual exposure fusion tech, which basically just captures both short and long exposures simultaneously for even more incredible detail. Plus, there's now also the option to pull high quality stills from any 3 seconds of your 4K videos. Why don't more phones do this? And yeah, you can also pull out individual frames from a live photo and save them as standalone pictures. Plus, OPPO still uses AI to enhance those too. There's also a good amount of new AI editing tools as well, and also a round of applause for how OPPO organizes all these AI features. They're all bundled in one spot under the AI editor icon instead of having you dive around the Photos app trying to find each one. In there, you can also find this new one called AI Recompose. Basically, when you take a photo and aren't really sure how to properly crop it for social media, this feature will do the work for you. It'll automatically find the best position for any shot you took and crop it in various formats so that you can upload it on your social media with the proper positioning. It's honestly not a bad idea, and it works surprisingly well too. There's also AI Perfect Shot, a lifesaver for group pics. If someone in the photo has their eyes closed or made a weird facial expression, you can actually swap their face with a better one from another group photo. It's something that Samsung and Google have been doing for a bit now, but still, it's awesome that it's here too. And you still get all those other familiar tools like AI Eraser to quickly remove people or objects from the background, Reflection Remover for pictures that were taken through Windows, AI Unblur to restore detail in blurry photos, and a bunch of other smart fixes that just make editing feel less of a hassle. And if you're into more creative stuff, OPPO even has an app called AI Studio, which really lets you upload your photos and use AI to completely transform them. Like with this one called AI Style Transfer, you can turn your photos into full-blown pieces of art. It's actually pretty wild how good some of the results look too. So yeah, overall, for a mid-range phone, the Reno14 lineup brings a ton to the table when it comes to the cameras. Even though the hardware itself isn't over-the-top crazy, the software seriously picks up the slack. Now, when it comes to battery life, holy cow, the Reno14s are absolutely crushing it. We're talking some of the biggest batteries I've ever seen in smartphones, period. The Reno14 and 14F come packed with a massive 6,000 mAh battery. That's already insane. But then, when you go to the 14 Pro, it bumps it even higher at 6,200 mAh. Like, what? I was consistently getting 7 to 8 hours of screen on time, which is some of the best battery life that I've ever seen on a smartphone yet. And I'm a pretty heavy user too, so that's pretty impressive. But here's the crazy part. Despite these gigantic batteries, OPPO somehow made these phones thinner than most flagship devices out there. We're talking slimmer than the Galaxy S25 Ultra, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Pixel 9 Pro XL. all while those phones have significantly smaller batteries. How they pulled this off is beyond me. And just when you think it can't get better, the charging speeds are insane. All models come with super fast charging. The Reno14 Pro and regular 14 charge at 80 watts. That's 0 to 100% in around 47 minutes. The 14F is slightly slower at 45 watts, but it still gets a full charge in just under 80 minutes, which is still more than fine, especially at this price. Oh, and the Pro model also throws in 50-watt wireless charging with AirVoop. Now, that's not something that you see on a lot of mid-range phones either, so when it comes to battery and charging, you're definitely good there. Now, as for performance, this is definitely not the Reno14's strongest flex, but it's still not bad. None of these phones are what I'd recommend for hardcore gaming at maximum high quality settings or heavy video editing. They're just not built for that. But for everyday stuff like scrolling, texting, streaming, even some lighter gaming, they're honestly more than enough. All three models come with a 120Hz refresh rate, which makes everything feel snappy. ColorOS also deserves a shout out here too. It's just super well optimized. The animations are fluid and I barely ran into any stutters. If you do want the best performance out of the bunch though, the Reno14 Pro has the best processor and it comes with the MediaTek Dimensity 8450. Just for a bit of a comparison, it just opens apps a tiny bit quicker and handles heavier tasks a little better, but it's not a massive leap from the regular Reno14 that has the Dimensity 8340. All three models also stay surprisingly cool too. They all have this fancy new AI Nano dual drive cooling system. It basically uses a nanofluid, ultra-thin vapor chamber to rapidly dissipate heat from the chipset, and it also uses AI to keep the phone cool in areas where you would hold the phone while you game, like in grip and control zones. Final thoughts, I'm honestly really happy with how the Reno14 lineup treated me. When you consider that these phones are selling for just around $400 to $550 depending on your region, you start to realize just how much value they pack in. And if I had to call out one for the best bang for your buck options, it's definitely the regular Reno14 5G. You're basically getting a very similar experience to the Pro model, same premium aluminum frame, a high quality telephoto lens, blazing fast charging speeds, genuinely useful AI features, and a massive 6,000 mAh battery, which you don't usually see at this price. All of that, but in a slightly more compact form factor and for a noticeably lower price. Honestly, it just hits that sweet spot perfectly. Anyway, if you want to see how OPPO's thinnest foldable, the Find N5, stacks up against the Galaxy Z Fold 6, go ahead and tap this video right here. Thanks so much for sticking around to the very end. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Kapow!